What's up, guys? Tom Davis here, America's Canine Educator. On this episode, I'm going to talk about heat injuries, dogs and cars, tips and tricks on how to keep your dog cool this summer. So I brought you guys outside because I could talk about an hour and a half on heat exhaustion and all that fun stuff about heat, but I'm just going to be short and sweet and just give you guys some tips and hopefully, save some dogs from exhaustion and stress, etc. So I brought you outside because this is where I have my dogs usually in my truck when we're training or traveling or whatever it may be. And of course, when you guys are traveling, running errands, going to friends' houses, whatever it may be, your dog's going to be in your vehicle as well. First thing I want to address is dog's body temperature. If you don't know it, it's 102.3, 102.5 is the average. Anything above 104 degrees internally on a dog is prone to heat exhaustion or stress or heat damage, etc. So just know that. Most important thing when you're going to travel with your dog, in your car. I travel with my dog because my dog works with me. It's a working dog. She's always in her crate. However, I am very, very responsible. That's the big thing here. It's just being responsible, knowing your limits, and knowing what to do and what not to do. And that's really, really key. So if you do travel with your dog, it's not a big deal. Just make sure you're responsible. If it does get above 90 to 100 degrees and the humidity is high, I would recommend, if you don't have to bring your dog anywhere, don't. This last weekend in upstate New York was 90 plus degrees with a crazy humidity rate, and it was just gruesome. It was just nasty. So I actually just didn't bring my dogs anywhere. I turned on the AC and I left them at home unless I needed to transport them for training. So with that being said, between 70 and 80, 90 degrees, depending on where you live, I know in higher altitudes it's a lot drier than it is in lower altitudes where it can get super humidity and it's just nasty. So just know your temperatures. But the most important thing, guys, is just be responsible. So ventilation is huge. So in my truck, I have 2 windows in the back that slide open. So when I'm traveling, the ventilation is constantly circulating fresh air, which is really, really important. A stagnant dog and a hot car with zero shade with a little bit of cracked window is a nightmare waiting to happen. So make sure you have a ton of ventilation for your dog. That's the first step. Making sure you have clean air and fresh ventilation so your dog doesn't get that stagnant air and just produces more and more heat within the car. The other thing obviously is water. So there's a couple different tricks that I've learned over the past. I have a bowl that clips on to my dog's water dish, which is fairly common in every dog store. You can pretty much get that anywhere. It clips onto the outside of the cage. You can pour fresh water in, when you stop or when you take a break. The other thing that I have done is I've actually taken a gerbil or hamster or critter little bottle like this, and I can freeze it overnight, sitting up like this, and then during the day I fill it with water, and then I can put it in our crate so actually it doesn't drip much, and you can still get a little bit of water, which always helps if you're out of water. A little bit of water is better than no water, and it goes a long way. So that's something I would recommend too, that you don't see very often. Get a little critter thing, and they can get water from that. I would show them that there's water in there, but that's training, and that's a different video. So that's something that I would recommend. I also have multiple different water jugs, fresh, so each day and each night I come home from traveling with my dog, I go out and fill this up in the morning, and that way the water is fresh. Stagnant water is probably hot. You could get chemicals from the plastic from sitting in the heat. So make sure your water is fresh, cool if possible. I also usually keep, if it's super hot and I'm traveling a lot, throughout the day training, I'll bring a cooler of ice with me too to keep the water nice and cool. And you can obviously feed dog water. You can feed dogs ice as well, and that helps them cool their interior body temperature down as well. Again, guys, I can talk all day about all the variables of heat exhaustion and stuff, but I'm just giving you some tips. Make sure your windows are open, lots of fresh water. The other thing that you can do is you can buy ventilation, if you will, which means a fan. So you can move that fresh air around a lot easier with a fan. I went to Home Depot and got this. It's a fan that you basically buy a lithium battery for that you can charge at night, and I plug that in, and it's pretty actually. I plug that in. It's pretty industrial, and it's got two different settings on it, which which is like really, really low and then super freaking high. And I put that on her too because if you're stuck in traffic and it's 90 degrees plus humidity, nothing's moving, this definitely helps your dog keep cool. The other thing I have too is a battery operated fan, which is here. And you clip on your cage, and again, it has two different settings. I like this, and I use them both because this one has a temperature gauge on it as well. So it lets me know the interior temperature of the back of my truck, and that's important too, to just know where you're at as far as temperature goes, especially when you're traveling. And the other thing when you're traveling too is there's a ton of different systems that you can get online at different websites. I think Learberg carries some cooling systems. You can get alarm systems for your phone that hook up to the back of your truck or inside of your vehicle that alert you if high temperatures get deadly or dangerous. It'll send you a text and let you know. So those are some options. Again, there's so many different variables I could go down, but I'm just giving you a quick little video on what to do. Little rundown again: fresh water, ventilation. You can go out and buy fans. That fan that I bought from Home Depot is $30 plus the battery. You're looking at $100, but it's a super, super nice fan. You could get extra batteries too if you're traveling. You could pop them in, keep your dog nice and cool with a big heavy fan. You can also plug that fan in, which is nice. And then I got the backup battery fan, which is what you can get. And then of course fresh water and ice, stuff like that. It's really, really nice to just keep the interior body nice and cool. So those are a couple different things that we've gone over today. Also, again, if you're going to leave, we touched base on this a little bit, but if you're going to keep your dog inside, fresh water. If you have the availability to have your AC on, nice. You could turn that on. That helps big time. My dog is a St. Bernard, so he has a lot of fur and he's big, and so like I leave my AC on and keep him in a room where he's isolated, so I know that he's nice and comfortable. So that's something that I would highly recommend if you have a big guy at home, or a pug or something with the smushed face that they can't really breathe that well. Keep them isolated if you can in an air-conditioned room. Ventilation, fresh air, just making sure that nothing's stagnant. Little fans here and there would be nice to move that air around. Lots of water, again, lots of fresh water. And of course, there's different activities you can do with your dog to cool them down. Swimming, if you have the availability to swim. But of course, if you're in a pool, just be careful of chemicals and etc., all that fun stuff. If you go to a lake, that's fun. So you could do multiple different things, but if you have to leave your pet at home, you can, again, just put on the AC, make sure there's fresh water, and make sure your dog's, cool and has enough availability to get away from the heat. So if you don't have to bring your dog out on a really, really hot day, then just don't. Let them hang out inside. Don't put them through that. You got to remember they have a fur coat on. Some of these dogs have 2 fur coats. So just make sure that you're responsible if you do bring your dog out. Lots of ventilation, lots of things that you can do. Add on fans, add on water supplies. If you stop and you have 5-10 minutes, let your dog out, stretch a little bit, get the blood flowing. But if not, just keep a good eye on your dog. Again, just being responsible, just like kids, just like humans. Just if you're aware and you're communicating good and you know what heat exhaustion is. Again, that's a whole other video if I wanted to. Shade is important. Natural shade right here in my house. I have a ton of pine trees around me. It's actually really, really cool right now. So I back my truck up this way and keep my dog in the shade, which is very important. If you can park in the shade, if you have to go bring your dog somewhere and you have to leave them in a car, park in the shade if you can. That's very, very valuable, and it's free shade, which is nice. If you do see a dog in distress or you think they're in distress, call the store manager, call your local ACO, call your local authorities. Don't break the window. I travel with my dog all over the place in really hot temperatures, but however, she's got 3 fans on her, she's got ice water, she's fine. But sometimes we reevaluate those things differently, and we do damage to other people's property, and then we get in trouble for it when it really isn't necessary. So just make sure that you're responsible about what you do. Without a doubt, if you see a dog, ready to pass out from heat exhaustion, do what you have to do. I wouldn't recommend doing anything until you got authorities' permission. Every state has different laws, so I would, just be really responsible, be respectful of other people and their opinions. Dogs are personal property, but as long as you do everything you can with your dog, that's good. Try to educate other people, share this video with them. But just remember, anything above 70, it could get 100 degrees in 10 minutes, which is super hot. Fresh water, lots of ventilation, lots of responsibility comes with dogs, especially if you live anywhere where it gets super humid. If you live in a drier, higher altitude, you get lucky because you don't have the nasty humidity that we get that really just lags everything. It just sludges everything up. So if you guys have any questions on anything like that, just send me an email. I'd be happy to talk to you about some other tips and tricks. But I hope you guys enjoy the nice weather and just make sure to be responsible out there. So thank you guys so much for watching my video. If this video was helpful to you, or do you think it'd be helpful to your friends or family, please share it with them. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And every single Monday night, I'm going to be answering your questions, training my dog, training your dog. And also don't forget that you can work with me, America's Canine Educator, online at www.americascanineeducator.com. Build your dog business, train your dog, work at wolf sanctuaries, talk to me if you want. I don't care. You can work with me every single day on my online portal, again at www.americascanineeducator.com. We'll see you guys next week on my YouTube channel. Remember, you keep asking questions and I'll keep answering them.